The applause crackled faintly under the steady drone of the air conditioner. From the very back of the ballroom, I watched my father, Gregory, lift his champagne flute as if he were christening a ship. To Brittany, he proclaimed, puffed up with theatrical pride, the brilliant mind behind the Sterling Heights project. My sister stepped into the spotlight, glowing as if she had personally carved the building out of marble. She was wearing a silk vintage gown, one I had quietly paid for. She accepted the cheers with a practiced smile, despite barely being able to spell structural, much less design a high-rise. In the shadows, I held a small clutch containing my resignation letter. I didn't cry or rage. I simply checked my watch. 9 o'clock sharp. The lie had been sealed, and the debt for it was due. By the next morning, I was sitting at the boardroom table, a polished stretch of mahogany lit by sunlight slicing through the 45th floor windows. The room smelled of lemon polish and power plays. My father sat at the head. James, the firm's lawyer, sat stiffly beside him, while my mother scrolled through her tablet, not once lifting her eyes to me. She was likely reviewing the gala photos, the same ones that had been edited to remove me. Gregory didn't bother with greetings. He slid a glass of water toward me. The ice clattered like a judge's gavel. "Your face last night," he said quietly, the disappointment dripping from his tone. "A complete liability." I held his gaze. I waited for anger or grief to bubble up, but there was nothing, just a cold, curious detachment. "A liability," I echoed. "You looked bitter," he continued, leaning back. Brittany was enjoying the biggest moment of her life. Investors were watching. And you lurked in the back like a ghost, ruining the atmosphere. It was unprofessional. The word hung between us. I thought of the last 6 months, the 80-plus-hour weeks spent correcting engineering miscalculations, the pre-dawn visits to City Hall for zoning approvals while Brittany detoxed in Tulum. I had drawn every line of that building. I had written the speech my father delivered. Brittany couldn't even open the CAD programs. "I designed the project," I said. I didn't call him Dad. Not here. Every structural element, every calculation, every material. She had nothing to do with it. Gregory exhaled sharply and exchanged a knowing look with James. "You're confusing hard work with worth," he replied. "Brittany sells the dream. She represents the brand. You are just mechanics. And your jealousy is poisoning the culture here." I glanced at my mother. She turned a digital page, her silence an endorsement of his words. In that instant, I understood something I'd never wanted to admit. In this dysfunctional ecosystem, competence wasn't rewarded. It was punished. My ability to operate independently threatened the fragile egos around me. Brittany, helpless and dependent, validated my father's need to feel superior. I didn't need him, and that alone made me dangerous. "I'm not jealous," I said evenly. "I'm exhausted. I'm an asset you've ground down to nothing." Gregory slapped his palm on the table. The glass rattled. "Enough. You will apologize to your sister for your behavior. Today. If you don't, we will reconsider your employment." I looked out at the Chicago skyline, steel, concrete, contracts. Then I stood. "Okay." He blinked, caught off guard. No pushback, no tears, just acceptance. "Okay," he repeated. "Yes." I walked toward the door. "We're not done," he barked. "I think we are," I said calmly. His voice chased me into the hallway. "You're suspended. Unpaid. Hand over your keys. Now." He held out his hand, expecting me to fight, to cling to the badge like a lifeline. Instead, I placed the lanyard gently into his palm. Done. I turned and went to my office, my glass-walled fishbowl. I didn't even sit. I pulled out the cardboard box I had kept ready for years, ever since he stole credit for the Riverside project. I packed only what belonged to me. My notebooks, filled with dated sketches of Sterling Heights. My personal SSD containing 4 years of raw files and time-stamped revisions. Everything else I cleared away. When I finished, the empty desk looked like a crime scene. No clutter, no evidence of usefulness. The void itself was the message. Carrying a light box, I passed Brittany. She stared at me with the puzzled expression of someone watching a trick they can't understand. She assumed I'd return on Monday to fix whatever disaster she created. I left the building at 8:45 and met a notary at 9. The stamp hit the document like a hammer, deep, final. Outside, I emailed my resignation. No pleasantries. No explanations. Then I posted on LinkedIn a simple announcement that my new firm was open and that all intellectual property related to Sterling Heights remained exclusively mine. I tagged the city, the investors, the journals. While I sipped espresso across town, chaos erupted at my old office. Brittany couldn't access the files. Red warning lights blinked. James burst into Gregory's office with a tablet showing my post. Gregory scoffed, claiming everything created on company time belonged to him. But James was pale. She never signed the ownership transfer, he admitted. You told me not to send the new contract. You didn't want to pay the fee. Gregory froze. It meant the entire project legally belonged to me. And they were currently erecting a skyscraper based on stolen plans. The phone rang. Mr. Sterling. Brittany answered and immediately wilted under his shouting. Gregory ripped the phone away, scrambling to lie smoothly. He blamed me, called me unstable, said Brittany led the entire design. By late morning, he was on live TV weaving a story about a helpless daughter who lacked talent. I watched from the cafe, unsurprised. He couldn't destroy my competence privately anymore, so he had to do it publicly. I responded with evidence. I uploaded a screen recording showing thousands of hours logged under my name, emails where he ordered me to ghostwrite Brittany's presentations and erase my own credit, a voicemail from Mr. Sterling praising my ideas while Brittany ignored the meeting. I titled it, The Tracer Speaks. The industry erupted. Shares dipped. Architects rallied behind me. In Gregory's office, phones rang nonstop. The licensing board was calling. Complaints were filing in. James stared, horrified, at the unfolding disaster. Gregory returned from the interview smiling, until he saw the screen, the comments, the headlines forming like storm clouds. And that was only the beginning.